The Legendary Armory is so close to being perfect, but it has this fundamental flaw if you ever swap legendary weapons out of your equipped slots. Or perhaps more accurately, the actual problem here is with the equipment template system. Auto chaps, I'm MagicalMike, and I'd like to try and explain how having legendary weapons can now be more inconvenient than it previously was, despite this quality of life update. I apologise that this explanation may be a little bit complicated, but please try and follow it, because I have to be exactly clear here. And I also want to say that I desperately wanted this update to be really good, and it is so close to being that good. So close. So this is my warrior. She has a Berserker Spellbreaker build set up for doing dragon response missions. She currently has a full Berserker set of weapons, trinkets and armour, all ascended apart from the legendary backpiece. My second equipment template has a full set of condition damage Viper stat gear, again all ascended apart from the backpiece. If I want to swap my current weapons to, say, a longbow, because I need to range something for whatever reason, then I can simply double click it in my inventory and it's now equipped. My ascended weapons go back into my inventory as they normally would. I can also put them back into my equipped slots, this time using the equipment tab, just to show that the longbow also goes back to where it was. This is fine, this is how we're used to it working previously. However, if I want to use my Berserker build that uses a greatsword, I need to then equip that weapon. The greatsword that I use is a Sunrise, which is a legendary weapon, so I go into the equipment template and find that in my armory up at the top. I click on a weapon set, and then on the greatsword to replace that set with the sword. The mace and the axe go back into my inventory just like previously, and the Sunrise goes into my hands. Then I have to customize the greatsword, so I right click, customize, and then choose the Berserker stats, add the 2 sigils that I want to it, and put my infusions back in. So far, so good. This is what we've been used to, this is expected. But here comes the problem. If I want to go back to my Spellbreaker build and my Spellbreaker weapons, which were Mace and Axe and Dagger and Axe, then I have to unequip the legendary Sunrise. Doing this removes the customizations that I just did to the greatsword. As you can see, it's now back to its default state. No stats, nothing inside it. The 2 sigils and the 2 infusions are now back in my inventory. And finally, after all of that explanation, what this means is that every time I want to equip that greatsword, I have to re-equip the sigils, the stats, and the infusions. And every time I unequip the greatsword, the sigils and infusions get dumped back into my inventory. This is an incredibly tedious thing to deal with if you ever swap your weapons, and especially if you swap your weapons around often enough, and many of us do this for pre-stacking buffs, for mobility, for ranged versus melee combat, or whatever the situation requires, and many other reasons for doing so. Now currently I don't know if this is intended design or not, but the cynic in me says that it might be, simply because equipment templates exist and they actually solve this problem if you keep one of your weapon sets saved in your equipment templates. I unfortunately only have 2 and they're both used, so I can't solve it like that unless I pay money for a new one. If you have a template with the legendary in it, then it does remember that config that you set to it as long as it stays sitting there. But if you remove it, then you will suffer with this problem. And yes, you might say, oh well, it's only 10 seconds or so, but frankly, 10 seconds adds up. Over the amount of time, this feature was supposed to be quality of life, and it's actually added quite a bit of tedium to the game. Not in a big way, and a lot of people aren't going to see this as a problem, but like I said, if you ever remove legendary weapons from your equipped set, then you will have to deal with this problem. Now again, the cynic in me says that it's almost like we're being pushed to buy equipment templates to deal with this new problem, and if this persists, then the incentive for me to ever craft another legendary weapon has just been deleted. I do have the spear, and like I mentioned before, the fractal backpiece ad infinitum, and since these items never get unequipped, they don't actually suffer from this issue, but maybe in some niche cases they might too. But there you go, I don't think there's anything more to say, I just wanted to highlight the problem, and please ArenaNet, if this is unintended, please fix it. Please communicate that it's unintended. Please, because this update is so close to being perfect. If, though, this is intended, then, quite frankly, I don't know what to say. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.